And it's as simple as that. Return on investment is net profit over investment. Easy? Nobody asking a question? Thank you. I like that. It depends on the data type. Techie immediately. It depends on your definition of investment. And it depends on your definition of net profit. Now, gold trap and throughput accounting defines investment. Is anything that is tied up in the system right now that will eventually produce value. So those specs that you have, reams and reams and reams of paper, those are investment. Net profit is defined as throughput minus operating expenses. Help me with pronunciation, someone. Operating expenses is defined as the fixed cost of existing, of switching the lights on. So that's your infrastructure and, more surprisingly, the people, the salaries for the people. It's a fixed cost. It doesn't get divided into any project. It doesn't get divided into any bucket. It is just a cost. It's there. That's it. Surprised? Okay. Throughput, in the classic throughput accounting way, is defined as your revenue minus your totally variable costs, or truly variable costs. Truly variable costs. Truly variable costs are those costs that are directly associated with you doing the action. So if I need to put that feature into production, I need to spin up a new Amazon Web Service or two proportional to that feature. That is a truly variable cost. If I have a server, physical server I paid for years and years ago, that is not a truly variable cost. That's an operating expense. It just is. You putting new features into production does not increase your operating expenses. But that doesn't make sense. So throughput, more human-friendly defined, is the rate at which the system makes money. And if you can measure at this level, you're on a golden place. If you can measure at this level, the throughput being measured at this level, you can make changes to that coffee assembly. Unfortunately, teams, most technical teams, are so far removed from the actual money technical teams work with this. Working, being used, being consumed, working, tested, has good quality, is solid, will not fall down, features. The assumption here is that business has given you those features in order of the priority that they wanted. But that's the best that you can do. It ties into the Agile Manifesto's principle of working software. I don't have the answer. I can quantify that back to money. I invite the discussion, and I think it's a useful discussion to frame and to have within your organization. Have these discussions rather than we need to cut costs. What does that mean? Seriously, what does it mean? Okay. Return on investment is your throughput minus operating expenses over investment. So if you want to maximize return on investment, what do you need to do? It's important what he just said. Minimize investment. In order of preference, in order of how you should go about, First, increase the throughput. First, increase the working tested features. First, increase that which gives you actual revenue. Typically, that is sort of an unbounded number. You can always go up. You can always have more and more and more throughput. The sum of physical limitation. Secondly, decrease your investment. Lean calls this decrease the work in progress. Decrease the amount of stuff you have in progress that is not adding value in the very next moment. Only invest as much as you need to add value in the very next moment to increase your throughput. And then finally, decrease your operating expenses. Get rid of your contractors, get rid of your extra hardware. Is any of this surprising? It should. Corporate start there. When they want to make money, when they want to save money, they decrease operating expenses first. It's a cost accounting mentality, and you can only go down if you start cutting costs. You can never go up. There's a zero amount where, now we're out of business because we don't have anyone running the place, but we've managed to cut costs. Have arguments on how can we increase throughput. Then have arguments and discussions on how can we decrease investment. And finally, the very last thing that you can possibly do, figure out how to decrease your operating expenses. So next time you're around that cafeteria, nasty coffee machine with those old stale beans that has used cost accounting to get here, that is so darn efficient that I have the worst possible coffee you can ever have. Cost efficient. Think about throughput accounting. Think about how you can discuss your issue at hand. When you go back into that room that you just came out of, because you had a nasty argument, how can you go back into that room and instead argue about throughput and increasing throughput? Agile fits beautifully. You know this. It's obvious, isn't it? These are the two books that I feel everyone should read and everyone should have a very strong opinion about. The first is, that's a good button. That is the most semantically dense, the most exciting book I've read in quite a while. It takes a complete opposite stance to The Goal, which is an actual fictional novel that you can read in, I think, a day or two, and you will get a very thorough understanding of what theory of constraints is, and throughput accounting in that. Read these, have an opinion. Finally, I exist in a realm of contentious feedback because that's where I learn, that's where I'm excited. So with that, be courageous. Echo me. Thank you. Warren.
So is investment just work in progress?
Anything that is currently attached to future value. So I'm keeping it vague because it could be anything like that. So anything that has a lifetime of a cost and then suddenly disappears because you put something into production.
So what's an example of something that's an investment that's not just work in progress?
Buying software licenses for the developers.
Is that an operating expense?
It could be, but if it was applied for developers, yes. If you need a specific continuous integration license for this project, there's no clear-cut answer. All I'm giving you is three nice buckets which should throw costs and have these discussions.
So now you're asking if you have any opinions on the gaming of these kinds of missions.
saying the current
game to show progress.
Yes. So the current cost accounting view of the world, you're not gaming anything. Yeah. So yes, anything is gameable. At least now you're gaming to get more global optimization. In theory, you're not gaming to prove that you're locally optimized. In cost accounting, what we're doing is we're gaming the system to prove that we're locally darn efficient.
I'm actually talking about gaming for the purpose of reporting.
Yes, true. Gaming the system, changing these numbers, changing these things, but then you're trying to change the numbers to prove that you're globally more optimized. Which is not a bad game. It's still a game, but it's a better game than a local game.
Where does fixing a bug fall into those three buckets?
Yes, so no. The capacity of the system is 0 until you have delivered working, tested features. You cannot write down, you cannot have that throughput until you have done the work. So it might actually be an investment in that it removes from the throughput that you thought you had. What's interesting about throughput is it doesn't need to be a true measure, it doesn't need to be a perfect measure, it just needs to be something that is weakly causally related to the global balance sheet of the business. So if I know I can make throughput go up, then I know I can make the company's balance sheet go up. And if they're working on throughput accounting, that could easily be mapped, not easily, that could possibly be mapped down into the seed.
Danie, I've been having a sort of discussion with Jurgen Appello on Twitter recently about some of these ideas around optimizing the whole as opposed to local optimization. His comment was that A, the idea of a value stream is outdated and we should rather be looking at the idea of a value network. And B, that the idea of optimizing the whole is a fallacy because there is no such thing. Do you have any thoughts or any comments on those ideas?
Oh, yeah, I've read buttons on many of them, you've pressed one of them. In short, I fully agree with him that we should be thinking in networks rather than in streams. That makes sense, but that's a straw man argument from him. So we'll have that with him. Secondly, what's the second question?
The second question is, his contention is this idea of optimizing the whole as a fallacy.
I know it's not possible. It will never happen, ever. But if you're not using that as a lever towards progress, if you're not using that as a lever towards going forward, if you're not using that to dance with the system, what are you using instead? Thank you.
Anyone else?